Hey guys, it's Tim coming at you with a review, this time of the new DC direct-to-video movie, Justice League vs. Teen Titans. So the basic premise of the movie is that, after a battle with the Legion of Doom, Batman feels that Damian Wayne, the new Robin at the time, does not know how to act in a team dynamic. So he has Nightwing drop him off with the Teen Titans, now led by Starfire, in order to learn teamwork. This then gets him involved in a plot that even begins before he gets dropped off with the team, of a new demonic force, Trigon, trying to make his way into the human world and starting to possess members of the Justice League. So it's up to Damian and the Titans and the remaining members of the Justice League to stop him from taking over the Earth. So this is the first real direct crossover in the pseudo-esque new 52-esque animated universe between the Justice League movies and the Batman and Robin movies. Outside of course, Jason Mara voicing Batman throughout all of them. And one thing you'll probably notice is that this movie is a lot more fun and lighthearted than previous movies have been, which is ironic considering the fact that this is a movie that literally involves demons trying to take over the Earth. And as a whole, it probably makes it my favorite movie from this universe of films in the DC animated canon. This movie gives the characters a lot more personality, especially with Cyborg, who has finally moved past that whole brooding phase he was in for the first two Justice League movies and is finally starting to have more fun on screen, which is much appreciated. The returning cast are still very solid in their roles from the previous encounters and have grown since first starting to voice them, and the new cast, with the exception of one who I'll get into, are also very solid as well. Though his voice is distorted obviously to make it more demonic, Jon Bernthal does a very good job as Trigon. It's not as deep as I would want it to be, but it's also not as distorted as Darkseid was in Justice League War, so it still feels very strong for the particular character. And for those of you who are fans of the Season 2 of Daredevil, don't worry, he does the Big Bad Punisher voice at least once in this movie. But that also leads us into the weakest part of the film. Taissa Farmiga is not a very good Raven. Now, to her credit, Raven is a character who's not supposed to express a lot of emotion and is very dry and sarcastic. But she just feels like she has no conviction in anything she's saying, even in scenes where it feels like she should have it, and it honestly takes me out of the character every time I hear the voice come out of her. And since the movie revolves so heavily around her, they really should have done more and better to make this performance stronger. But outside of that, everyone does well, and for the most part the story's very strong. Though there are particular elements to the story that are presented really in the third act that are never really brought up before and never expanded upon and just sort of come out of left field. And they're easy to gloss over, but they're confusing when they're presented. And these revolve around Raven's relationship to her father, which was presented a particular way throughout the entirety of the movie, and then one line at the end alters it for some reason, and also Starfire's relationship to the Justice League, which is brought up twice and never really expanded upon or even alluded to beforehand. But like I said, they're relatively minor and don't take you out of the story for very long. Overall, I'd say that I'd give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. It's not one of the greatest DC animated movies like Superman vs. the Elite or Under the Red Hood, but it's definitely the best of this universe of movies that they've been going on for the last several years. It's a lot of fun, the acting for the most part is very solid, and you really feel more connected to the characters now because they're not all brooding and jerks like they've been before. And, for those of you who have been upset since the start of the DC animated canon, the post-credit scene may give you some hope for the movie that was supposed to be third that got cancelled. And you'll know what it is when you see it. But, until next time, this has been Tim from the Hybrid Network, signing out.